Welcome to #Mindshift Talk, powered by Create Mindspace with Katrin Büßmann.
When I read that book, actually, I found that, wow, this is just so scientific. And most of all, this so makes sense. And with my kind of previous knowledge as a psychology student, I knew that wow, this is exactly what modern psychology, modern science kind of emphasize how we can change our mind, right?
This is a platform to share, educate, and inspire. Welcome to our 6th episode of #Mindshift Talk. I'm excited to announce my next guest speaker, Jungeun You, to our series about gaining insights and acquiring tools to implement mindfulness and emotional intelligence in a corporate environment. Define challenges, determine possibilities, create opportunities. Jungeun You is the founder and CEO of Mabo, the pioneering mindfulness meditation app in Korea, and General Director of Wisdom 2.0 in Korea. She comes from a background in organizational development with a MA in industrial relations and personal management, and having previously spent 7 years as a HR and OD consultant. Her aspiration is to democratize mindfulness in South Korea to create a happier society. I'm very excited to welcome June to #Mindshift Talk to share more of her path and wisdom with us today. Thank you, June, for being here with us today at #Mindshift Talk. And maybe before we get a little bit deeper into kind of the topic for today, bringing more mindfulness and emotional intelligence into the world, maybe you can share a little bit about yourself and where you are today. Maybe what should people know about you to get to know you a little bit better?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, thank you for inviting me. And it's my pleasure. It's my honor.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm a mindfulness meditation teacher from Korea, and I'm also a startup founder called Mabo. So our app is mindfulness meditation app in Korean for now. Yeah. Nice. And actually, when I got contacted from you, Katrin, through LinkedIn, I was quite surprised because, I mean, our app is now only present in Korea. So I was quite surprised, how she know about me, like that question. Yeah, but it was quite a big pleasure that after I saw your LinkedIn, actually, I found out we have many things in common. You also had Search and Sell Yourself teacher certification, as I did. And we are also taking mindfulness meditation teacher certification program by Jack Confield and Tara Brach, right?
Yes, exactly.
So there was, much overlap. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, thank you. And maybe going into that a little bit, because you came actually more from corporate career, consulting really for big companies and implementing great projects with Hyundai and Samsung. And then you really made a transition. I feel like a little bit like me over the years. And maybe you can share a little bit about your path and let us know what makes you maybe do today what you do.
I feel like that life, it has been almost 10 years that I left from that job. And I feel like their life as a consultant seems like a past life, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I used to be actually organizational development consultant. it's a kind of specific area as a business consultant. So what I tried to do was like, if I kind of like revise organizational structures and kind of leadership culture, I assume that like maybe there is a way for people like internal like employees to be actually happier.
Right.
That was kind of my naive kind of hypothesis. And it was not too long that I found out I was really naive, because even if I actually changed so many organizational structures or systems, HR developments, I found that after all, if like individuals, like each employee or each leaders, if they don't change their inner mind, inner mindset, nothing had changed.
Right.
Yeah. It's not really like a nice business text or like a nice business development coach ask you to do something for internal organizations and that, oh yeah, we are having this, we can change everything. It's not like that, right? After all, it's really about one's mind, whether you are ready to really accept the changes, right? So I was really curious, whether there is any possibility that we actually can change one's mindset. Yeah. And with the questions, I actually decided to go to doctoral program in Korea, one of the best Korean universities. And in that program, in the first semester, I found out my professor actually sexually harassed the students.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was a kind of like a whistleblower. Yeah, I actually had to defend the victim, who was the victim. Yeah, from her side, and I actually saw like this like a professor. He was majored in like organizational development and leadership, culture, everything. But after all, he was not a good leader. And I actually, what I found out is like it's not really about theory, researches, textbooks. It should be applied in real life, right? And back then, I actually found out this book, Search Inside Yourself. Yeah, you know this book, right? Like
yes, from Meng.
Search Inside Yourself. Like this is the name of the program. Like Google, one of the previous Googler, he made this program for the benefit of Googlers. He want to actually bring this mindfulness meditation to Google. And he invited like many psychologists, many meditation teachers, and making this kind of original program. And I actually read a book about the program written by Chad Meng-tan, the founder of the program. And I found out, wow, this is the way actually changing mindset. I haven't really known like about the meditation. Back then it was like more like kind of 10 years ago. And I have this kind of prejudice. My meditation is about something ufu, religious, and people like hippies.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, but when I read that book, actually I found that, wow, this is just so scientific. And this, most of all, this so makes sense. And with my kind of previous knowledge as a psychology student, I knew that like, wow, this is exactly what modern psychology, modern science kind of emphasize how we can change our mind, right? So back then it was my kind of like academic curiosity, why and how it works. And I started to read about the researches. And then it became kind of my own practice. And later I found out this is actually a much bigger thing than like a kind of program for organizational change. It's a kind of really deep-rooted way, and it's difficult to explain. You may know, like, this is really difficult to explain, but this is actually a much bigger thing. This can change our lives, right?
Absolutely.
Sorry, I was too kind of enthusiastic about.
No, I totally agree with you. I think that was kind of for me the same when I did start diving into that piece of the neuroscience behind it as well. And actually the changes which are really getting measured more and more now through MRI scans, etc. too. It was really a game changer for me. And then, of course, my own experience with it, right? Like when you start working with that on yourself, you start recognizing things are shifting and changing. Maybe if you look back over the last 10 years, then how did your path develop? Like maybe you can share a little bit about that. Like you started with that book, but what happened then?
It started from my academic curiosity, right? That's really kind of from curiosity, how it works, right?
Yes.
And eventually it became kind of my life value and practice. And in that journey, what I found out was, in the beginning of my journey, it was really about kind of myself, kind of self-development. And I found out so many things about myself. It's really, back then I was just single, and it was really kind of like a dating with myself. If you date with someone, like you're kind of
get to know each other.
Yeah, about other person, right? But it was really about like dating with me, right? Myself. And I found out, I mean, unconsciously, I have just followed the social norm. Yeah, I thought that I used to be also like a really independent, but in the past, I actually found that I was not, and I was so like much, just, it was like a fish just under the water, and the fish doesn't know that he was or she was surrounded by water, right? It was me. Like I was really surrounded by the social norm and the thoughts from the other people, but I really didn't know. And eventually I found out, wow, it was really deeply rooted. And in the middle of now I'm still going on, but like if I just look at my 10 years kind of journey before, in the middle, actually, I was a little bit of like, how can I say, wandering. Yeah. It's because if you are in this journey, in the beginning, it's like you're kind of, how can I explain this? You discover like you have been wearing sunglasses. It's kind of tinted with color.
Yes.
And if you are doing meditation, you now realize, oh, I was wearing the sunglasses, and you're taking off, and you can now see the whole world, whole things with your bare like eyes, right? And it is kind of a good, like a pleasant process, but it can be also painful process, because for me it was a little bit painful, because after that I could see all the flaws, all the sufferings I had carried on. There was a little bit of self-judgment and kind of doubt. Yeah. And now, actually, in the process of embracing those things together, right? And now I feel like it's not only me carrying all those things. Now I can see more about other people. So I think that's really kind of journey. You start with yourself, and you in the middle, like you see pains and all sufferings not only within you, but with other people. And now I kind of moving toward seeing more other people.
Mm-hmm.
Does it make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, realizing it's a shared experience, right? We are
That's
all
true.
in this. We're all in this together, kind of. So, but that's definitely my path too. Like we need to start with ourselves to really get to know ourselves, and then going. Yeah, I mean, it's. I think a lot of people really are afraid of doing that just because it's going into the dark too, right? Seeing the things which are not so nice about ourselves as well, but then as well about what's happening outside of us. But really shifting perspective then and seeing different ways of life too. Yeah, no, thank you. That's beautifully shared. I can totally relate to that too. And from there, you started this Mabo app in Korea as well, and that is really kind of the first mindfulness app which you brought into your country. Can you maybe share a little bit about that? Like, how did that happen, and your developments there?
Yeah, so it is actually quite funny because I haven't really imagined myself as a startup CEO or founder. 10 years ago. It just happened to be I actually used to have this meditation like a circle for free, like it was open to everyone. I have had this meditation circle at Google Campus Seoul, which is the place where Google made for startup scene in Seoul. And I offer this kind of meditation circle. And in the circle, there was a man, and he actually one day just approached me and asking me, "Oh, can I actually record your voice?" And I was like, "Oh, why?" Yeah, I was a little bit like, "Why?" Kind of defensive. And he told me like, "Oh, actually, I try to meditate every day using an app, but back then there was only Headspace Calm in English." So he told me, "Oh, but like I cannot really concentrate on this English contents, right?"
Yes.
And yeah, it would be good that if you record your voice. And he was an amateur developer, so he wanted to make a simple kind of app using my voice. And back then, actually, I was teaching mindfulness meditation program for many companies in Korea. And many people actually, after the class, approached me and asking, "Oh, I want to make it as a habit at home too." But it's really difficult for me just sitting there by myself and doing meditation. Is there any guide? And so I asked him, the amateur developer, like saying that, "Oh, it would be good if we make something together." But eventually he was not like a professional developer. I had to hire like a professional developer, and eventually became Mabo on app.
Yeah, beautiful. I love it. So you found kind of a need, right, in Korea, that people felt more comfortable with really listening to your own language with meditation and not having like English. I love that.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's an easier connection when you have your own language?
Yeah, I think what I found out was like even I actually learned doing meditation from the States. Yeah, mostly in English. Like actually meditation actually touches your kind of really intuitive mind, right? It's kind of really penetrating into really deep states of your consciousness.
Yes.
So if you have it in your own language, mother tongue, it's more natural because your kind of analytical mind doesn't intervene. If you have something in your, like a kind of in second language, you have this analytical mind going, "Oh, okay, that word, okay, what is it, right, like that." Yeah. So I think that the mother tongue, like a guided meditation in mother tongue is really important. And the second one is like what I found out when I operated meditation at Mabo. What I found out is kind of culture background, the similar culture background is also kind of appealing to those people having similar mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because even though this is a kind of globalized, getting more globalized, we still have this culture set.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
We have different backgrounds.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And when you look at your app, what's maybe special about it? If you look at others too, we talked a little bit about it. Maybe you can share, what do you feel is different for yourself on it?
So what I try to is I want to give the kind of home feeling, community feeling, and want to make this kind of online sangha. So, even though mindfulness meditation is really secular and more like a science based, but still we cannot deny that this mindfulness meditation tradition is from early Buddhism called a Vipassana Theravada, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we cannot really deny the presence of the Buddha, the Shakyamuni Buddha, right? And what he actually told is really interesting. When he actually talked about this path, he said there's 3 jewels: Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. So Buddha is not one as a kind of religious figure. Buddha means there is a possibility everyone can awake. And Dharma is a kind of universal law. It's it's like gravity. It's like kind of universal law, natural law. And the third one is quite interesting. Even though we have this kind of imagination that meditation is something you are going to the kind of isolated place and you by yourself just sit there, close your eyes, and staying there long. But it's not. The third jewel is actually Sangha, the community, the people you can practice with. So what I was thinking was, it would be nice in this kind of era. COVID-19 everywhere, right? So everyone now we are kind of isolated in some sense. But if you can connect it to other people in a kind of really safe environment, I think it will give you some grounded feeling. So I really want to make Mabo as that kind of platform and community platform. Yeah. Where people can share their feelings and their life, even life, not only meditation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I love that. That's beautiful. So really building and focusing on that community feel. Yeah, thank you. And maybe talking about community as well. I saw that you brought Wisdom 2.0 as well to Korea. Is that correct? And is it similar to the version from the US and you brought it over? Or maybe you can talk about that a little bit, bringing kind of community in too, right?
So I don't know whether people who are watching this know about Wisdom 2.0. So if we need to explain more about Wisdom 2.0, Wisdom 2.0 is a kind of annual conference started from San Francisco and now kind of everywhere. The founder, Soren,
yes.
He's my friend and he wrote a book, Wisdom 2.0. And it is Wisdom 2.0 really means the conventional wisdom and the wisdom tradition, like a meditation, and contemplation. And 2.0 means with the conventional wisdom meets this technology. Now we are having this SNS, like a Twitter, Facebook, Google, and when it combined, how we can actually use this wisdom and technology together in a way that people, like human beings, are more beneficial from them. So I really like this idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, even though we become a practitioner, we cannot really live outside of this technology nowadays. Even
Absolutely.
like the most prominent, like a wisdom teacher, like His Holiness Dalai Lama, he's doing this Zoom teachings like really open, right? He's using his YouTube channels, right? So it's really important how we can use this technology wisely, more wisely, right? And the idea of bringing this into Korea was like, I want to make this like a meditation scene is more, how can I say, more active and to pro-social and like having our own voice. So Soren was really kind. Like he actually let not only me, and we also have Japanese colleagues. So he also have this vision that Wisdom 2.0 is kind of getting globalized. So yeah, I hope like someday in Germany, maybe you or someone like bringing Wisdom 2.0. So it's kind of big, really like a global community.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And so you have it like, okay, of course, right now it's not really happening for you either, I think, because, or are you doing it online as well? Did you continue over the COVID-19 period now?
Yeah, I mean, last year was our first Wisdom 2.0 Korea, and it was kind of hybrid. We did online and offline together. And I feel like this year, we will see, like no one knows the future, right?
Exactly.
But, maybe also hybrid,
Nice. Yeah, that sounds interesting. And in general, maybe when we look at mindfulness and going a little bit back to that corporate mindset, how do you see it in Korea developing?
Yeah, I mean, 10 years ago, when I tried to bring in Google's program, Search Inside Yourself to Korea, to Korean companies, I mean, still there are so many people thinking just meditation as a way of kind of relaxation. So back then, their request was, oh, we have this leadership program for like 2 days for our leaders. And can you just come for lunchtime and giving this meditation program for 1 hour? So annoying, right? Like I'm just like letting them just lying down on the yoga mat and they're like, okay, close your eyes. They all thought about like that. So
This
annoying.
misperception of what it can do to you. Yes.
Right. But nowadays, actually, it is quite like, quite surprisingly, like, HR people ask me, oh, can you do this like a resilience program with us, or can you do this like emotional intelligence program with us? So they are kind of slowly knowing more about what mindfulness meditation can do for people. But one thing actually I feel like it's not enough is they still think that it's a kind of a nice to have program. And they still think that like they still want to like feel, how can I say this, like feeling the vessel of leaders. So how I describe mindfulness meditation program or corporate is, if this is a cup, normally most leadership programs or most kind of training programs is like filling this cup with more knowledge or skills. So you're teaching or you're delivering something, and like you're filling this like cup with that skills or skill set or like knowledge, right?
Yes.
But normally nowadays, most leaders and most employees in one company, they have already like this full cup they know everything.
Right.
Yeah. It's not like they don't know, they don't do it because they don't know it. It's more like they just don't do it, even though they know it. Even leadership, they know when leaders are a good leader. They just don't do it. It's so full. They are
Right.
so full with their own mind, their own like knowledge, their known experience. So what mindfulness meditation is doing is like their mindfulness meditation actually expand the size of the cup, the capacity.
Mm-hmm.
But still, your things in there, and the cup is getting bigger. And even without like expanding the size of your capacity, if you just pour more water into the cup, it doesn't make any difference. So I'm telling my clients that like if you are really willing to change your organizational culture and change the whole mindset of people, then you're ready to bring mindfulness meditation program to your employees. Otherwise, it's just another skill set, another knowledge.
Yeah, I love how you explained that just now, because I think it's really about that expansion, right? Opening up. And that kind of is what the cup stands for, right? You're making a bigger cup to.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that like a mindfulness meditation program is another kind of performance boosting program. It's not. It should not be like that, right? It's a really kind of paradigm shift.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, any companies or any country cannot always like grow, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So excited to see how this all develops, but I'm very optimistic, and I'm looking forward to what we can create together as well going forward on this. And maybe going a little bit back to your own practices, do you maybe want to share a couple of practices maybe you implemented into your life which really helped you?
I actually really feel shame because my husband always kind of pointing me out like, you're not actually diligent practitioner at all. I mean, my husband, compared to me, he's a really diligent practitioner.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I found out about myself is like, I'm trying to have this kind of habit, like after I wake up, I'm sitting, and before I sit, like I read meditation books, like kind of inspiring me, and then I try to sit. But when I am getting really busy, like I try to sit actually at least 30 minutes in the morning, and kind of 30 minutes in the evening. But if I'm getting really busier, I try to sit even like 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And because of COVID-19, like I couldn't go to a longer retreat, but I try to kind of keep like maybe one weekend, or I don't know, like it's changing, but kind of one weekend, like I want to have a kind of silence day, or someone calls it like a detoxination from the internet or everything. But I try to have it. And I found that it's much easier when you have partner who are willing to, kind of help you. So actually, as I told you, my husband is more strict. He's a much diligent practitioner. So he's kind of nagging at me when he has found me like a little bit like, oh, June doesn't seem like stable. He nagged at me like, oh, June, you should meditate more, something like that.
Yes. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, it's And maybe to just finish off this conversation for now, I could talk to you much more longer, obviously, but I truly believe only awareness creates change, and that we really need a mind shift. We talked about that a little bit already now, and I think this is why I really created this platform to hashtag Mindshift Talk, because I think how we operate on a global level, that we can really shift as well, like personally, but then as well, obviously, in the business world, and maybe creating a little bit more of a path to a more humane and conscious future. And I would love to get your take on that and your vision maybe as well for maybe the Mabo app or Wisdom 2.0. How you see that coming to life and your vision about this.
Thank you for the question. Oh, yeah. It actually made me think about, what I want to do. I mean, interestingly, I recently found out my kind of 5 years goal. In SIY silly practice, there is a session that you're envision your 5 years later, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that someone watching this or listening to this podcast doing similar thing, you just take a note about what you are envisioning about your 5 years later. If every dreams would have come true, kind of exceeding your expectation, what kind of life you are living, and how do you feel about your life? And I actually found out the note recently, and I actually read it, and what I found out was actually, wow, it came true. In that note, I actually mentioned that, I want to marry. Yeah, I met my husband 2 years ago. So, yeah, in that time, 5 years ago, I was kind of desperately looking for my partner, and I met kind of my perfect partner for now.
Nice.
Yeah. And I actually wrote down I want to be a mindfulness meditation teacher. And I actually became a mindfulness meditation teacher. And even back then, I didn't even imagine that I would be a mindfulness meditation app founder. I'm now so many things. And even now, there's a place where I'm having this call is a meditation center, small meditation center. And in that note, I actually wrote down I want to have a small meditation center. And now I'm in that small meditation center. So everything has come true. And back then, when I found out that note, the feeling of the initial thought was, okay, I'm now living in my dream. And what's next? And actually, I caught this kind of tendency. We are always kind of living in the future. And we always want to achieve something. And I found out my kind of old habit before I actually coming into this field, as a consultant, always want to plan something, always want to achieve something. And I haven't really had enjoyed the present moment. And now I'm living in that moment. So if I answer your question, I don't know what's my vision. Now maybe I will just do what I'm now doing. Just try to. So the bigger vision is I want to spread this mindfulness meditation more, actually bigger, mindfulness kind of style life to more people. This is not really about meditation, closing your eyes, sitting on the cushion. It's more bigger thing. It's really changing your life, the way of your life, right? So I want to just spread this mindfulness theme, but maybe even though I'm doing kind of a little part of it, I think it's a kind of big trend, big stream already. It's a big wave. I didn't make it. It's just a big wave. So many people and this actually era wants it. So maybe I'm just doing a little, maybe this much part of it, but I will just do what I'm now doing. without really thinking much about my goal or vision.
I'm looking forward to see our lives developing for sure. And I thank you so much for joining us today here on #Mindshift Talk to really share your ideas, wisdom, insight, and your path. And I wish you all the best for the future. And hopefully I can come and visit you in Korea sometime to join your meditation.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Catherine. And I really want to appreciate that you have this work. Yeah.
Thank you.
And you also doing your role there. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Was #Mindshift Talk. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for our next episode with another amazing leader sharing their journey. To learn more about Create Mindspace, please check out katrinbüßmann.com. My gratitude goes out to my sister Tomke for bringing this to life with me.